Welcome back. The Supreme Court Judge Justice Sikri has turned down the plump post-retirement offer that the Indian government had made to him. Now, you'll remember, viewers, Justice Sikri was part of the high-powered panel, the three-member panel that included the Prime Minister and the head of opposition, Mallikarjun Kharge. Now, this panel had ruled in favour of transferring former CBI Chief Alok Verma. Sources say that he has now formally withdrawn consent for the assignment of the London-based Commonwealth Secretariat Arbitral Tribunal. Joining me on the show right now, Prashant Bhushan. Mr. Bhushan, good evening and thank you for joining us. There has been a call for a while that judges should not accept or be given positions of appointment from the government for at least 2 years until after they retire. Your voice has been one of the strongest voices for this call. Why do you believe that should be the case?
Well, it's well known for a very long time that post-retirement jobs or the lure of post-retirement jobs for judges influences them in deciding important cases in the government's favor just prior to their retirement. They become especially vulnerable to this pressure just prior to their retirement if they are looking for a post-retirement job. Now, not every judge is looking for a post-retirement job, but perhaps most of the judges are. For example, Justice Kurian Joseph said that he is not going to accept any post-retirement job. Justice Chalmeshwar said that as well. There are several judges who say that, but unfortunately the majority of judges are looking for post-retirement jobs. And unfortunately, the government has a major role to play in offering them post-retirement jobs, though there is consultation with the Chief Justice for most of these jobs. But the government plays the major role in this. And therefore, that's why we have been saying for a very long time that just as appointment of judges should not be in the hands of the government or even this collegium, but it should be in the hands of a totally independent judicial appointments commission or whatever you may choose to call it, which should be independent of the government and the judiciary. Similarly, the assignment of post-retirement jobs should not be in the hands of the government at all, but should be in the hands of this independent judicial appointments committee. In the absence of that, there should be at least a 2-year cooling off period after retirement for judges, during which time they should not be allowed to accept any post-retirement jobs. In fact, for important posts like the CAG, etc., there is a constitutional provision that after retirement they can't accept any post-retirement jobs.
Well, Mr. Bhushan, I also want to quote at this point a post put up by Justice Markandeya Karchu, where he says that Sikri is totally upright and extremely competent, and this is the media attempting to tarnish him and ruin his reputation. One could also argue that a lot of the evidence in this particular case, as far as Justice Sikri is concerned, is circumstantial, because he was offered the position over a month ago. At that time, one didn't know that this panel would come up and he would be part of it. So, would you agree then that this entire row about Justice Sikri has actually been not based in evidence and not actually warranted?
No, in fact, I don't agree with Justice Karju at all. The fact is that Justice Sikri was offered a post-retirement job, or at least his consent was taken about a month ago by the government, and in fact it had the approval of the Chief Justice also. However, the final notification for that had not yet come, so that was still in the hands of the government. Justice Sikri had given his consent for this. Obviously, he wanted this post-retirement job. Now, in this situation, firstly, in my view, it was not very appropriate on the part of the Chief Justice to have nominated Justice Sikri as his representative in this high-powered committee. He should have nominated the next judge, the third judge, who is not going to retire for the next 1.5 or 2 years, and for whom there is no issue of post-retirement job. If the Chief Justice knew that Justice Sikri had been offered a post-retirement job by the government, and that issue was still pending with the government. The final notification was still in the hands of the government. Then it was especially inappropriate to have nominated him for this high-powered committee, where it was well known that the government strongly wanted a particular outcome, which was to remove the director.
Well,
and
Mr.
it was also inappropriate in such circumstances for Justice Sikri to have accepted this job of the high-powered committee. He should have said, he should have recused himself.
Mr. Bhushan, it's also been argued that the CSAT job, the job in question, the post-retirement job in question is actually, it's not a plump position. And this, again, I'm quoting Justice Karchu here, where he says that it's only a position that gets called upon when there is a complaint. It doesn't involve actually being a sitting, judge in that particular court. So to argue that this is a plump position that would influence his opinion in any way would be wrong. What's your response to that?
Well, it makes it even more plump if you have to go only for 1 or 2 sittings in a month, and that for that you are paid for traveling there, you are paid a nice fee for those sittings, etc., and the rest of the time you are free to do whatever else you want, whether it's arbitration or any other thing. That makes it even more plump than having a full-time job.
Well, Mr. Bhushan, my last question to you is this. It would require the government to come on board to make any changes to the current system in which judges are allowed to, if they choose, to have a post-retirement posting. Do you think this government, or any government for that matter, would want to make that change?
No, no government wants to make that change. When they are in opposition, they talk about these things. There is a video of Mr. Arun Jaitley of 2012, when he was in opposition, where he's shouting from the rooftops that the Congress government is influencing judges by dangling the carrot of post-retirement jobs. So when in opposition, these same politicians shout from the rooftop that this is how the government influences judges by offering them post-retirement jobs. But as soon as they are in government, they change 180 degrees and start taking advantage of the same thing themselves. So that is why we have been seeing that in most changes that are required, in electoral reforms that are required, or reforms that are required in the CBI or appointment of a Lokpal, the same government which was shouting from the same party, BJP, shouting from the rooftops for Lokpal, 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 after coming to power, they have no interest in appointing a Lokpal. Same government or same party which was shouting from the rooftops that the CBI should be made independent of the government, after coming to power, have no interest in making the CBI independent of the government. So unfortunately, this is a malaise that we have seen across the board in this country, that reforms are asked for when you are in opposition. As soon as you are in power and you find that you can misuse the same system, the present system, you forget about those reforms, and this is what is happening.
Right, Mr. Bhushan, many thanks for joining us right now here on Mirror Now to explain your stand on the entire matter. We understand now that Justice Sikri has in fact turned down that position in the Commonwealth post his retirement, in order to clarify that it had no bearing whatsoever on his decision. Prashant Bhushan, Senior Advocate with the Supreme Court, joining us here on Mirror Now.